Good evening. Welcome to the Gateway to Healing Virtual Gala. I'm Paul Schwartzman, the Executive Director of the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association, and I'm excited. We're going to share an incredible journey and hear some amazing stories of some incredibly resilient people.
And I'm Bob Metcalf, a career fireman, and I have a very unique perspective and motivation to help out with the Burn Association. We're here right now in John Grieco's absolutely amazing studio here on Railroad Street in Rochester. We're going to hear more from John later. We have some stories and some perspectives that, frankly, go unannounced sometimes and unknown, Paul.
Imagine being pulled from this house fire and being rushed to the hospital where you will now spend the next few months of your life along with other family members and having no idea what the road or journey ahead is. Tonight, we're going to hear some incredible stories. You're going to meet that family specifically and other burn survivors and hear their stories and the incredible kind of challenge in not only the physical recovery, but the emotional recovery. We're holding this event because we normally have some other opportunities to help support these special programs. And because of COVID-19, that's not available to this year. So with the help of Channel 13, we're hoping to bring you this story to help us support this very unique mission.
So now would be a great time to text or call your family members and friends. Let them tune in to hear more about these powerful stories.
Yeah, and tweet as well.
Tweeting's okay.
Well, we're going to start our program tonight with a very special guest, Dr. Derek Bell. Dr. Bell is the burn director of the Kessler Burn Center at Strong, and this mission really starts with his incredible talents and the burn team.
I'm Dr. Derek Bell. I'm the burn director at the Kessler Burn Center at the University of Rochester Medical Center. I'm a plastic surgeon, and I oversee the care of the burn patients here in Western New York at our burn center. The patients that we see at the University of Rochester extend from Buffalo to Syracuse, even from as far away as Canada, as well as northern Pennsylvania. So it's a huge area that we care for, which covers several million people. We are a verified burn center, which means that we are verified by the American Burn Association, one of very few centers in the world, one of about 67 in the world and one of only 2 in New York State. We admit a variety of burn patients to the hospital. They can have small burns, they could have huge devastating burns, not only on their skin, but as well as inhalation injury from house fires and car fires, for example, which has a tremendous impact on their lungs. So it's not infrequent that patients spend many, many months in the hospital recovering from their injuries. Often they have to be in the ICU undergoing numerous surgical procedures. When caring for a pediatric burn patient, we realize that we're not caring for that patient, we're caring for the entire family because you have to provide support for the parents and siblings as well. Children are also unique in that as they scar, the scars don't grow at the same rate as a child. So as the child grows and gets taller, the areas of burned skin don't necessarily grow and expand and stretch at the same rate. Often these children have to undergo revisional surgery, either additional skin grafting or reconstructive techniques with moving tissues around to allow for them to grow. Children are also unique in that as they grow and develop, their bodies tend to overscar, which requires us to augment the scarring either with additional surgeries, as stated, or steroid injections. Often these children require compression garment therapy with which external compression is applied to the burns to help mold the burns as they continue to mature over the course of their healing process. These compression garments can be exceedingly expensive, and insurance companies often don't pay for them. Fortunately, we have support services within our community, either through fundraising efforts or through the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association, to provide these children the compression garments they need to augment their scarring and help with their healing process. Unfortunately, with that, it can often incite some psychological strain on these children as they begin to relive the initial injury. So in doing that, it's important for us to be conscientious of that and provide these children the psychological support that they need over the course of their development to minimize their ongoing lifelong psychological stresses. The care that we have in the hospital is finite, and the care that extends beyond the time in the hospital continues for many years, even over the course of a patient's lifetime. Burn injuries are unique in that they're one of those injuries where there's scarring of the skin, so there's a permanent reminder of the patients of the injury. Fortunately, we collaborate with the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association, which helps to care for the patients and providing psychological support for those patients after they leave the hospital, after they leave the acute setting, after they work with our nurses, our APPs, our nurse practitioner, PA, myself, the resident staff, the OR staff. So it's very important to have the support system in our community, which provides tremendous support for these patients, for not only their healing outside the burn center, but a lot of psychological support and continued healing in that manner as well.
Thanks so much, Dr. Bell. Definitely a lot to those stories. And now we'd like to remind you that if you'd like to help donate to the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association, go to www.FLRBA.com and you'll see the donate button right on the homepage.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, we really need your help. This is a unique organization. We've been around now for about 30 years to provide burn support to burn survivors from children to adults. You're going to learn about some of our programs, and as I mentioned earlier, hear the stories of the folks who've experienced those programs. And there's no cost to any of the consumers or patients or their families. This is all done by donations and with the help of some pretty special organizations that I'll tell you about a little bit later. But this can't happen without your help. Over the last 10 years, we have hosted a major fundraiser with the help of Albert Paley. Albert is a burn survivor and a world-renowned metal sculptor, and he has hosted this gala, thus we're virtual tonight, in his 40,000 foot studio on Lyle Avenue for the last several years. Albert has given up that space and is now working in other capacities, so we weren't able to do that. And this past spring, we were scheduled to be here in John's studio to pass the torch, so to speak, to John's metal shop, where we were going to host the event this spring, and we're not able to do that. So without those events, our programs are challenged. We really need your help.
So again, we remind you, please help us out. We're all facing challenges. Visit www.FLRBA.com and click on the donate button.
You recall the harrowing smoke and house fire that opened our show tonight. The Ogg family is the family that was rescued from that fire and spent months in the hospital and has been along that journey. It has a happy ending. They've survived and they're thriving, and I would like to welcome the Oggs to share their incredible story.
On January 24th, 2013, every mother's worst nightmare happened.
There was smoke coming from our house.
One bad electrical wire made my house go up in minutes. At the time, my daughter was 7 months old and my son was 4 years old.
A mail lady, Barb Hill Langdon, was driving around delivering mail. It wasn't her normal route, and we were lucky that day to have her.
And some amazing heroes saved us, but we had a long way to go still. That first day, it didn't look like any of us were going to come home. Both the kids needed heart and lung bypass because their lungs just couldn't do it anymore. RJ was in the hospital about 20 days. She was burned over 15% of her body, and I was closer to 30. It's a lifelong injury that you never see coming, and it's isolating. Sometimes you feel very alone. I was actually still in the ICU when the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association found me. They changed everything. In total, I was in the hospital for 111 days. It was, as you can imagine, the longest amount of time. I know 111 days sounds like a long time. You can't imagine how long it feels. Luckily, there was groups available in the hospital for other survivors to come in so I could see that I wasn't alone.
Recovery doesn't just stop when we get out of the hospital. It doesn't just hurt your skin. It leaves a mark.
I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a survivor. And they gave me this whole family and all these people that I can help. They let me become a SOAR volunteer. SOAR means Survivors Offering Assistance in Recovery. And by doing that, I can help the next mom who doesn't know how to do this. No one knows.
The FLRBA helps with emotional recovery, helping the kids out to know they're not alone.
We have just made this incredible family at camp.
It's the highlight of our year.
What's your favorite part of camp?
Playing with other people like me. It makes me feel like I'm not alone.
I love how I could share my stories and spend time with people that went through similar things that I did.
You have a lot of friends there.
Yeah.
Are you able to talk to your friends in school about it? Or is it easier at camp?
It's easier at camp. My friends at school, I don't really think they can really relate to it or get it as much as the people at camp.
To say it's healing is a huge understatement. I came in as an adult, a reluctant adult. I didn't even know if that's where I wanted to be at the time. And I remember that first camp when I left, I just sobbed the whole way home. And it wasn't because I was sad. It was because for the first time since this happened to me, I was me again. I didn't know if I'd ever be me again. Being a burn survivor, it isn't just healing from a boo-boo and then moving on.
It's something where people need help lifelong. And an organization like the FLRBA really does help with that. They lead us in our recovery.
Thank you so much, Katie and Joe, for sharing that extremely powerful and personal story.
Yes, the Yag story is pretty amazing, and they've had an incredible journey, and it's exciting to see them thrive. You heard Katie mention a few of the programs that their family's taken advantage of, like our support group, which is done at the hospital, as well as the survivors offering assistance in recovery. And that's survivors who are sufficiently along in their own recovery who then start to be a peer mentor to folks more newly injured.
Yeah, Paul, and as we mentioned before, all of these programs are available to all of the children and the adults at no cost to them. So this is where, again, we ask you to please go to our website, FLRBA.com, and click on the donate button, and please give whatever you can. Now, Paul, we're here in John Grieco's amazing studio here on the Railroad Street. Many people have been to the public market, been through here. He's got his own unique story to share and a reason to be involved with this organization as well. So now we're gonna hear a little bit more from John Grieco.
I love the forming of the steel. I love to get metal that you can't form cold. You actually have to heat it up to form it. I think that's one of the main reasons why I love doing this. It's almost doing origami out of steel. It's just exciting to me. 6 years ago, I was working in my shop, getting ready to put a finish on a cabinet I was making, and I was working with some polyurethane that was too close to my stove, and it blew up. My face was covered with burning polyurethane, and if it wasn't for one of my coworkers that actually helped put me out, he ended up burning his hands doing that. I don't know what the outcome would have been. I met up with Dr. Bell. He helped me more than I can tell you. I had secondary burns covering my face and ears, and the pain I went through was pretty challenging, and the outcome, I was blessed what happened. At that point, I met Paul Schwartzman, and he gently guided me into a direction of recovery, but also a more stimulating capacity for me as I became a mentor to other burn survivors, mainly firefighters, people that are in the fire service. I'm a retired lieutenant with the Rochester Fire Department, and maybe 2 years ago, we had a pretty challenging fire on Monroe Avenue. It was a 5-alarm fire, and we, the gentleman I was with and myself, were searching an apartment, and we lived through a flashover, which is when everything in the room reaches a temperature that will ignite all the combustible things in that room. And I called for a mayday. And after 30 years on the fire department, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy who's out of control and needs help. But I had to because of the situation. And again, I'm blessed by the guys who were around that immediately could pull me out, and my colleague. and we both made a full recovery. I needed a lot of support to get through my burn, and I am a helper. And one of the biggest things that helped me get through it was the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association took me to World Burn, which that's an international program held once a year for burn survivors with thousands of people there, many, many survivors, and that alone changed my life. And going to that World Burn, I actually became a counselor for people who were in my similar situation, mainly professional firefighters that are burned, and I would go to the hospital and kind of tell them my experiences and let them know that help is out there. I've been doing metal work for about 28 years, and since I've retired, I was able to focus a little stronger on it. And I'm blessed because I get to make really neat things. This is actually going to be a shepherd's hook that is going to be held by St. Boniface over on Gregory Street in the city. Growing up, we were always short of tools, and my father wasn't a really handy guy, and I always fawned over people that were handy, could do things, and I felt that when I became a firefighter, not only would that help my job, but it also fulfill in my heart what I want to do as far as being able to make something out of nothing. We got a commission from a family that would like a set of elk antlers for their garage, so we are getting ready to fabricate that, and it starts with a very gentle process of actually examining elk antlers and seeing the nuances, the curvature, the pointing, and then at that point what we do is make this wood cardboard cutout. Then the heating and beating starts is what we call it. We roll pipe in the basic shape that we'd like, and then I have my little gas forge that will heat the actual pieces up so that we can bend them and form them the way we want to. Metal typically starts to distort at 900 degrees, and it melts at 2,000, so we want to be somewhere in between there. And we will be also welding those actual points onto the antlers. I'm excited about hosting the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association's major fundraiser of the year next year. We're going to have all kinds of cool things going on in the space. Obviously, I'll do a special piece of artwork for the presentation, which a lot of local artists do also. It's a great time. When I reflect back on my life, my careers, I think of the can that's stuck in the ceiling. It actually blew up that day, which gave me the second-degree burns across my face. And it serves as a reminder to focus, and also of all the blessings that I have as far as the people I've met and the tragic situation that turned out to a wonderful situation. And to be able to give back to people through the Burn Association. It's changed my life, all for the better.
We're so grateful for John, who's just an amazing talent as an artist, retired firefighter, and as a burn survivor. And he's been a gift to our organization and a dear personal friend. You heard mentioned earlier from Mara and RJ about camp. So we wanted to turn our attention now to Camp Courage. And a really significant part of our program is the support for children. We're going to hear the important stories of two adults who were burned as children who are now very active in our camp.
Hi, I'm Lisa Schickler, and I'm a burn survivor, and I was burned on vacation. I was roasting marshmallows on a 3-legged charcoal grill, and my chair tipped forward, the grill fell on me, and I rolled in the white coals, and I got first, second, and third degree burns.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Gaffel. My story began when I was 16 years old. My sisters and I wanted to have hot dogs on the grill, and we had been to the mall, went shopping, came back. It was a rainy, drizzly day, and we didn't have lighter fluid, so I was elected to start the fire with gasoline, and on the third time it didn't start. I turned the gasoline, it was literally just drops in the gas can, and it exploded, blew me across the garage. Fortunately, there was a firefighter that lived 3 doors down, heard the explosion, came running in with his 3 daughters and handed them to my sisters, and immediately started first aid.
On my journey from an 8-year-old going into 3rd grade, they had put me up in front of the class and they had said, "This is Lisa," and she was burned, and I was totally devastated for that. I had hidden my burns throughout school. I had a best friend. She knew me for 3 years before she even knew that I had burns, because I had worn flannel shirts to high school and covered my burns.
There really wasn't support when I was 16 or when Lisa was 18. So that's kind of the driving force of why we have been involved with the organization. Camp Courage is an annual 4-day camp that is in the Finger Lakes region, and we draw from Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, and the Finger Lakes area. And it's children 6 to 17 years old, and most of the time our burn survivor campers will transition into counselors in training, and then as they transition they go into adults.
Camp is for psychosocial activities. We do activities with the kids to bring about their healing in their own time. We do horseback riding, boating, fun activities we bring in. We'll set up for like carnivals, and so where they can just come in and be a kid. It's such a beautiful place for them to be and grow and get on with their lives.
I was pushed by my family because they knew I really needed to release some of the emotion and trauma that happened as a teenager that came flooding back as an adult. Camp was an amazing experience for both of us, actually. Lisa burned at the age of 8 and my burns at the age of 16. I realized, looking at the children that were at camp, where I was as a child and what support I needed. And from adult eyes, it was extremely healing from the trauma. And it made me realize that this really is a family trauma. My sisters, my parents, close friends, all experienced this, and no one really talked about it after the accident.
Coming to camp, I had never seen another burn person until I was in my 40s. So it was great to finally meet people that had been on that same journey you had been on, had been through the same pain.
I think for me, what was the most important aspect of camp was that it was okay to show my scars, to show my emotions, to go back and know that I wasn't gonna live there forever, that the pain does ease, but I had to talk about it. And it was what helped me with Lisa. I think her and I just in the bunks of our cabin, just talking till all hours of the night, just knowing that somebody else has gone through this and you're not alone. I want everyone to know you don't have to walk this alone. It is an organization that supports children, supports adults, it supports families. A fire and burn trauma is a family experience. It may be for like what happened to me. It was me, I was the one that was burned, but my family was very, very much impacted. So if you or anyone you know has gone through a burn, fire trauma, just realize you are not alone. You could be a mother who's had a child that's had a skull burn, you've experienced a house fire, or you've had a gas explosion or electrical burn. There's so many different aspects.
And with our association, we do have counseling, and we have burn group meetings now that we can do over the internet, and it's all for free. It's just a great community, and we're family. So bring your family to our family, get together with our groups, and heal together.
Just know there is an organization, and it's local, and there are lots of people that are here to help. But we also need help from you to keep our organization going during this awful isolation time. Being a burn survivor is a lifelong healing process. It was very traumatic, and I'm grateful for my friendship with Lisa and the friendship of these children and them showing us how we can heal as adults. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to share our stories, and we hope that you will support our organization either from a funding perspective and/or come join us, as Lisa says, as our family, and we can all heal together.
Yeah, camp is just one of the great programs, again, that the Finger Lakes Regional Burn Association offers, and we urge you please to donate at FLRBA.com. Right now, click on the donate tab on the front page.
Yeah, camp is just an incredible, part of our program. But as you're learning from hearing from our burn survivors tonight, this is a lifelong injury, and those children get older, they become young adults, they become adults, and the journey doesn't stop. So we're very proud at the Burn Association to really kind of be a full service program. We're available from the lifespan. So it's the support groups for adults and families, our young adult retreat, because it's a unique time of life to be a burn survivor from 18 to 25. There's our camp and our child programs. But we also do preventive programs. We've got a lot of partnerships in the community, not only with the Burn Center, but with the Volunteer Firemen's Association. We co-sponsor the annual Fire and Burn essay contest in the schools. So we really try to not only help after the injury, but try to prevent it ahead of time. But as you've heard, this doesn't happen unless we get people's help. There are some third-party folks that do fundraising for us every year that we're really grateful for. One of them is the Red Knights. The Red Knights are volunteer firefighters who are motorcycle enthusiasts. They do fundraisers for us every year, and then they come to camp every summer on Saturday and come rumbling in, about 100 bikes strong, and give the kids rides and hang out. We have a big barbecue. It's one of the highlights of camp, and we're very grateful for all the work that they do. There's also the JLT Tejan Foundation, which is very generous to us, and other folks who help raise some money. I really look forward to seeing you next year here at John Grieco's studio live, the Gateway to Healing.
I sure hope so too, Paul. And again, thank you. Please visit FLRBA.com right now. You'll see the donate button and help out in any way that you can. Thanks for joining us this evening.
My name is Sean Gibson, and I was burned at the age of 2.
When I was 10.
7.
3.5 years old.
At age 10.
Burned at age 5.
I was burned when I was 8 years old.
I think I survived because, I'm going to school to be a registered nurse, so I feel that I can connect with the kids that have been burned.
Because I had to. I had to survive. I couldn't stop.
Because my kids needed me.
Because there were people there that were quick enough to be able to get to the situation.
I don't know why I survived.
Because I'm a really special person.
It means being able to be there for other people. Family that is just there for me whenever I need them.
Joining a new family of friends that were there for me no matter what.
Meeting new people, making a new family.
Because family means that I know I have a second family to come to.
We are not victims, we are survivors.
You like everybody else, but you're just looking a little different.